Everyone in the courtroom held their breath. The little girl's hand twitched, giving her dog a subtle signal. What happened next sent a chill through the room. The dog leaped up, barking furiously. The judge's eyes widened in disbelief. A terrifying secret was about to be exposed, right there, in plain sight. The courtroom buzzed with quiet whispers as lawyers shuffled papers and the judge adjusted his glasses. Wooden benches creaked beneath the weight of tense spectators. At the center, the little girl sat, hands folded, her eyes darting nervously. Beside her, a large German shepherd sat attentively, its head slightly tilted, ears perked. The dog's leash was loosely wrapped around the girl's wrist, but there was an unspoken bond between them. Despite the murmurs and shifting seats, the dog remained calm, its gaze never straying far from the girl's trembling fingers. The judge cleared his throat and glanced toward the pair. His expression was unreadable as he prepared to begin the proceedings. The silence deepened, thick with anticipation, as if the entire room was waiting for a single spark to ignite the story that was about to unfold. A few weeks before this tense day, the little girl's world had crumbled. Her mother, a quiet, soft-spoken woman, had disappeared under suspicious circumstances, leaving the girl in the care of distant relatives. These relatives, though seemingly concerned, were cold and dismissive, hiding secrets the girl couldn't yet understand. The girl's only source of comfort was her German shepherd, Max. Her mother had trained Max since he was a puppy, teaching him not just obedience, but a series of secret signals. Max became her protector, confidant, and silent messenger in a world that suddenly felt cold and unfamiliar. When the relatives claimed custody, legal proceedings ensued. The girl was summoned to court, where decisions about her future would be made. She clutched Max's leash tightly, as if it were the last connection to her lost mother. Despite her small size, her resolve was fierce. The courtroom became a battleground, filled with attorneys, paperwork, and whispered accusations. The girl's voice was too small to be heard over the grown-ups, but Max's unwavering presence beside her sent a silent message. She wasn't alone. Today, in this room, they would fight together no matter what was coming. The judge peered over his glasses at the little girl, his voice steady but firm. "Can you tell us where your mother is, sweetheart?" he asked. The girl shifted uneasily in her seat, her fingers tightening around Max's leash. Her lips quivered, but she remained silent, her eyes filled with fear. Frustration flickered across the judge's face. "Miss, you need to answer the question," he repeated, his tone sharper this time. The girl's silence only deepened, her gaze dropping to the floor. Max's ears perked up, his body tensing, as if sensing the rising tension in the room. An attorney leaned forward, whispering to the judge, "Your Honor, we believe the child's refusal to cooperate is suspicious. Perhaps the dog is distracting her. Should it be removed from the courtroom?" The suggestion hung in the air like a blade, threatening to sever her last thread of security. The judge hesitated, glancing at Max. The dog's eyes locked onto his, steady and calm. It was as if Max was trying to communicate something important, something invisible to human eyes. The judge's frown deepened. He turned back to the girl, unaware that her secret signal was already poised to change everything. As the judge leaned forward, his gaze narrowing, the girl's trembling fingers shifted subtly. Her hand, barely noticeable, brushed Max's head in a specific pattern. It wasn't a casual gesture. It was deliberate, slow, and precise. Max's ears twitched, his posture straightening, as if he had been waiting for this moment. The girl's signal was one her mother had taught her, a silent command meant to communicate when words couldn't. It was a simple combination of taps and strokes, gentle yet insistent. To anyone else, it looked like a nervous habit, but to Max, it was a call to action, a message loud and clear. Max's muscles tensed, his eyes sharp and focused. The room remained oblivious to the exchange, the attorneys too engrossed in their papers, and the judge too focused on his questioning. Only Max recognized the hidden plea for help, a silent distress signal no human could interpret. A quiet resolve filled Max's body. He nudged the girl's leg gently, as if to confirm the signal, then turned his attention to the courtroom. With a soft whine, he prepared to act. The girl's secret message had been sent, and now it was Max's turn to reveal the hidden truth. Max let out a sharp, unexpected bark, breaking the courtroom's silence. His bark was not aggressive, but clear and commanding, like a warning bell that sent a ripple of unease through the room. Heads turned, murmurs rose, and the judge's gavel slammed against the bench in an attempt to restore order. But Max wasn't finished. He lunged forward, pulling slightly against the leash, his gaze locked on the girl's trembling hands. His nose darted toward her side, sniffing frantically, as if he were searching for something hidden, something urgent. The attorneys exchanged puzzled glances, whispers swirling around the courtroom. The girl's eyes widened as Max's behavior intensified. He let out another bark, this time aimed directly at one of the attorneys seated at the table. His body was tense, every muscle coiled with intent. The spectators leaned forward, their curiosity piqued by the dog's strange, focused actions. The judge's face hardened, his voice booming over the noise. "Control that animal," he ordered. But Mark, the girl's advocate and Max's handler, stood frozen. He had trained Max, trusted him. If Max was reacting this way, it wasn't a mistake. Something was very, very wrong, and Mark knew it. Max's bark grew sharper, his nose pointing insistently toward a briefcase near the attorney's feet. The girl's hand clenched the leash tighter. Max's message was clear. There was something in that briefcase, something dangerous. The courtroom had shifted from tense to electrified, and Max was determined to reveal the truth. A wave of gasps rippled through the courtroom as Max's barks echoed against the marble walls. The judge's gavel slammed down once, then again, but the murmurs only grew louder. Eyes darted toward the briefcase near the attorney's feet, the same one Max was fixated on with unwavering determination. One of the bailiffs cautiously approached, his eyes narrowed in suspicion. "What's in that briefcase?" he asked, his voice low but insistent. The attorney's face paled, sweat breaking out on his forehead. "Just papers," he stammered, but his voice trembled under the weight of Max's relentless attention. The judge stood abruptly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "Open it, now," he commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. The attorney hesitated for a brief moment, then reluctantly complied, his hands shaking as he unclasped the metal latches on the case. The moment the briefcase opened, a sharp gasp filled the room. Hidden beneath stacks of papers and legal files was a small, concealed compartment. Inside, something glinted ominously. A hidden device, wires coiled neatly. Something far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. The entire room fell into stunned, horrified silence. As the courtroom froze, the judge leaned closer, his voice a hushed tremor. "What is that?" he demanded, his tone sharp with alarm. One of the bailiffs cautiously reached for the device, his gloves brushing against the wires. "It looks like a listening device," he murmured, his voice carrying a note of disbelief. Whispers turned into a low murmur as realization swept through the room. The attorney who had carried the briefcase shrank back, his face drained of color. The judge's gaze hardened. "You were spying?" he asked, his voice rising. The attorney stammered, but words failed him. Max stood unwavering, ears forward. The girl, her eyes wide and tear-filled, clutched Max's leash tighter. This wasn't just a loyal pet. It was a service dog trained to detect electronic signals, an ability her mother had arranged for before disappearing. The secret signal the girl gave was a code between them, a silent alert that danger was present. The judge's face softened as he looked at the girl and Max. "You were trying to protect her," he said quietly, the weight of the moment settling on his shoulders. The courtroom buzzed with stunned silence, spectators exchanging bewildered glances. The hidden truth had finally come to light. The bailiff secured the device, ensuring it would be used as evidence. The judge turned back to the little girl and her loyal protector. "Your bravery, and his, just saved this courtroom from something unthinkable," he said, his voice thick with emotion. The truth, hidden in plain sight, was finally revealed. The judge, his hands trembling slightly, slowly sat back down. He looked at the little girl, her dog, and then at the stunned faces of the attorneys and onlookers. The weight of the decision pressed down on him like a mountain. "This case is no longer about custody," he said softly. With a deep breath, the judge spoke with renewed authority. "This child's safety has been gravely compromised. Her silent plea for help and this dog's heroic actions have revealed a conspiracy that none of us saw coming." He gestured to Max, his voice carrying across the courtroom. "This dog is a hero." He then turned to the girl, his expression gentle yet resolute. "Effective immediately, "I'm placing you under the protection of the court," he declared. "You will not return to those relatives. You will stay with a trusted guardian who will keep you safe." The girl's eyes welled with tears. The judge's voice softened. "And Max, he will remain by your side as both your protector and your family." Applause erupted softly from the courtroom as people finally let their breath out. The judge's decision wasn't just legal, it was an act of compassion, recognizing the truth that had almost gone unseen.